Hey, this is Patosha Jeffrey, the girls basketball trainer, coming to you with the next lesson in the MVP Club. I hope that you got a nugget out of the last lesson. It was just a recap. It was about your thoughts. What do you think about? What do you think about when it comes to school? What do you think about when it comes to basketball? And how does that transform into the things that you're doing? How does it carry over into the things that you're doing? So I hope that you had a chance to think about that and understand why you are getting the results you are getting. Why you are getting the results you are getting in the classroom in that certain subject. Why are you getting the results you are getting on the basketball court? And it's because of your thoughts. It's because of the way you think about what's going on. Are you happy about it? Are you sad about it? Are you disappointed about it? And so what you need to do is just reverse that. And instead of saying you can't do it, say, how can I do it? How can I get it done? And so that's just a recap on last week's lesson, your thoughts. This week I want to talk a little bit more about you in particular. And just to start out, we can start out with me. I can give you examples of me. When I was in elementary school, all I wanted to do, like I told you in last week's lessons, all I wanted to do, I used to see those big kids, those fifth graders down that hill playing basketball. And at the time, I was in the fourth grade. And I wanted to have the opportunity to go down that hill at PE and play basketball. And the next year, I was able to do that. When I got to junior high school, all I wanted to do was play on a team. Keep in mind, like I told you in the last lesson, all I was doing was playing basketball. I hadn't bought my own goal at that time, but when I go get my hair done, I would go mess it up back on the basketball court. And actually during that time, I didn't have my own basketball goal, but my stepdad had put a hole in a crate, if you know, a milk crate. He put a hole in that milk crate, and in the apartments we lived in, I put the goal up. We lived on the second floor, and so right in front of our section, right in front of our apartment, I set the goal up, and all the boys used to come play basketball with me. I had a goal, although it was a crate, but I had a goal, and all the boys used to come play basketball with me. So as you see, I was already in that mindset that I wanted to play basketball. So when I got to junior high school, I wanted to play on the team. And I remember that first week of school, I went to the coach and told him that I wanted to play on the team. And he looked at me, he looked up and down, and I was very, very skinny at that time. And he said, "You're too skinny. You need to go home and eat some beans." And just imagine how I felt, knowing the background that I loved basketball, get my hair done, mess my hair up after getting my hair done, after dinner, run out and play basketball. And I was finally getting the opportunity, at least I thought, to play on the basketball team. So that first week in junior high school, I was in the 7th grade, first week of school, found the basketball coach, told him I want to play. He looked at me and basically said, "No, you're too small, you're too skinny, you're too frail, you need to go home and eat some beans." Went home and told my mom, and she told me, "Look, you need to go back to that coach and tell him that you want to play." I went back to the coach. He said no again. Went home and told my mom. She said I had tears in my eyes, and she said, "You need to go back and tell him." So I went back and told him. This time he said, "Look, we haven't tried out so-and-so, so-and-so. I'm not promising you anything. You can come out, you can try out, we'll see what you get." Not only did I go out there and make that team, I started as a 7th grader, 8th grader, 9th grader. I led the team in scoring, steals, assists as a 7th grader, 8th grader, 9th grader, and I was MVP as a 7th grader, 8th grader, 9th grader. Okay? High school. I remember one of the most vivid things I wanted to do in high school. I wanted to win the Best of the Preps award. And that award went out to the best girls basketball player in the city. They had the different awards for the different sports, and I wanted to win the Best of the Preps award for girls basketball. And I remember my 10th grade year, a girl that I went to junior high school with who used to play basketball with me at PE, she had won it my 10th grade year. My 11th grade year, she had won it. So my 12th grade year, I wanted to win it. She wasn't in school. She was a year ahead of me. So she was on in college off at Kansas. And my goal was to win the Best of the Preps award. I was a finalist. I was a finalist my sophomore year. I was a finalist my junior year. And I wanted to win it my senior year. And you know what? I won it. The next thing that I wanted to do, I wanted to go to college. I spelled college wrong on here. I wanted to go to college. I wanted to play college basketball. And when I was in junior high school, I didn't even know anything about college basketball. All I just wanted to do was play basketball. But when I got to college and when I got to high school, I used to hear my high school coach talking about college basketball, and it piqued my interest. And I said, hey, I want to play college basketball. And so, of course, I did. I accepted a college basketball scholarship or a college athletic scholarship to the University of Memphis. I played college basketball. Next, got to college, and I struggled in college. That first semester in college was extremely hard for me. In high school, junior high school, especially in high school, I was more of a shooter. Junior high school, I played point guard. High school, I was more of a two guard. But when I got to college, that's when I learned there was so much more to the game. As I've mentioned in lesson 1, it's more to it. It's a lot more work. I mean, you're practicing over 3 hours a day, weight training, speed and agility training, then training on the basketball court, learning the different drills. And it was hard for me to adjust to film, watching film, the breakdown of the game. It was very difficult for me to adjust to. And because it was difficult for me, I decided that I wanted to be able to teach others teach others what I'm learning in college, teach it to young ladies on a junior high school level, on a high school level, or middle school level, or even elementary school. If I could teach what I'm learning on a college level, to those lower levels, how much far ahead of the game they will be. And so that's where that passion came in for me to do that. After I graduated from college, and I remember I was 2 weeks after graduating from college, I moved to Colorado Springs, was working at Federal Express, and while I was at work, all I used to do, I used to write up speeches. I used to draw plays because I still had that passion to teach players about the game of basketball, but I knew I wanted to take it to another level, and I wanted to speak. I wanted to speak at banquets, athletic banquets. I just wanted to speak and talk about the things that I knew about basketball, about academics. I wanted to do those things. And so those are things that I wanted to do, and I got to accomplish that, especially the speaking part. Last year I had the opportunity, I was invited to speak at a girls conference. It was a math and engineering conference. Over 100 girls attended the conference, and I had the opportunity to speak to them about my passion, about my understanding of technology and how I use technology to spread the word, to spread my understanding of basketball. Now, like I told you in lesson 1, I had the opportunity, I coached this year, coached the 6th graders at Hutchinson. And what was so funny about that, because I mentioned that I moved to Colorado Springs and lived there 2 weeks after graduating from college. Well, when I moved back to Memphis 2 years after that. I lived in Colorado Springs for 2 years. And I moved back to Memphis, and that desire that was really in me to give back and to coach. And everyone I talked to, I said, I want to coach. They said, what you want to do? I said, I want to coach. But the next thing, people will always say, well, why don't you teach? Meaning, why don't you get into the school system and teach? And I always thought, well, I didn't say I want to teach. I said I want to coach. And so when I told people I wanted to coach, they always thought that meant, well, you need to go get a teacher's license and teach. And I thought, well, that's not what I want to do. I want to coach. And so what I'm trying to share with you is that how my goal was to coach basketball, and how everything that I've mentioned, it came into existence. Everything that I wanted to do, it came into existence. So the coaching, I'm not a teacher at Hutchinson. I was the basketball coach at Hutchinson. So you understand where I was telling people what I want to coach, and they always said, well, why don't you go teach? Because the mindset is that you have to be a teacher in order to coach, and that's not necessarily true. I've also coached AAU basketball. I've coached summer basketball, travel basketball. You don't have to teach in the school to coach an AAU team. And so, and even with the speaking opportunities, I haven't spoken at an athletic banquet. Well, actually, I have spoken at an athletic banquet, but the opportunity to speak at this conference, this girls' conference, it just came out of nowhere. Believe me, I wasn't thinking about speaking at a engineering math conference. I was just thinking about speaking at an athletic banquet. And so, what I'm trying to say is, what do you want to do? It takes you dreaming. It takes you thinking, again, with your thoughts. It takes you just speaking and thinking and dreaming. What is it that you want to do? What is it that you want to do with basketball? What is it that you want to do in the classroom? And so that's what this last thing is. As you see up here, these are everything, the different levels I've been on, pointing to the things that I wanted to do. So in elementary school, I wanted to play at PE. I got to do that. Junior high school, I wanted to play on the team. I got to do that. High school, I wanted to win the Best of the Preps award, and I wanted to go to college and play basketball. I got to do that. College, I developed that desire to teach others. I'm doing that. I'm running my camps. I run my basketball camps. I call them mini camps. I've been doing those for about 4 or 5 years now. And after college, I wanted to coach and speak. I've been able to do that. So what do you want to do? It starts right here with you, where you have to think about it. You have to dream about it. What do you want? And it has to take you in that direction. So first you have to think, what do you want? And let me break it down a little further. In this little bitty book, this is a miniature version, miniature edition of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's a real small book, isn't it? But it's a powerful book, and I want you to listen to this message, and this is what I'm trying to tell you. What you have to do, you have to begin with the end in mind. So, as I did in elementary school, the end in mind was to play at PE. The end in mind was to play on a team, win the Best of the Preps, go to college, teach others. Those are the end in mind. So what is your end? What are you trying to get to? So, to begin with the end in mind means to start with a clear understanding of your destination. Let me say that again. To begin with the end in mind means to start with a clear understanding of your destination. It means to know where you're going so that you better understand where you are now, and so that the steps you take are always in the right direction. I'm going to repeat all that. To begin with the end in mind means to start with a clear understanding of your destination. It means to know where you're going so that you better understand where you are now, and so that the steps you take are always in the right direction. So the first thing you have to do, you have to decide where you want to go. Okay? You have to decide where do you want to go. And then you'll be able to take the steps that's necessary to get there. So, junior high school, I wanted to play on the team. And to be honest, I told you I had already been preparing. I had already been taking the necessary steps. I was already practicing every day. I was already shooting every day. I was shooting either on my crate, and I was shooting on my own goal. I was shooting on, I remember the apartments we used to live in when I was about in the 6th grade, and they had about 6 courts within the apartments. And that's when I was going to get my hair done with my grandmother at 8 o'clock in the morning. And as soon as I got home, I was out on that court shooting. On that crate, I was out there shooting. I was out there dribbling. I remember seeing a fella walking down the street, dribbling the ball between his legs. He was walking and dribbling the ball between his legs. I said, I want to learn how to do that. What did I do? I went and got that basketball and started doing it until I got it right. And now I can do it. In college, like I said, that desire to want to teach others began to grow, and And that's what I did. I put myself in position to teach others. I wasn't the head coach of the AAU team back in the day, about 10 years ago. I wasn't the head coach, but I was the coach. I was the assistant coach, and it because it started with that desire. And it's weird how it works when you get that bug, when you get that picture of what you want, when you decide what you want. It's funny how it works, where it's gonna eventually draw to you. You're gonna draw it to you. But the first thing you need to do is decide what it is you're trying to do. Okay? You have to decide what it is you're trying to do so you can know the necessary steps it's going to take to get there. Just like in the classroom, if you know you want to get an A, well, what does it require you to get that A? Does it require you to not study? Does it require you to not pay attention in class? No, it requires you to pay attention in class. It requires you to ask questions when you don't understand. It requires you to study. It requires you to get a tutor if you need a tutor, if you still don't get an understanding. It requires those steps to get to that end point that you want to get to. And so basically, what am I saying? What does it mean to begin with the end in mind? It basically means you have to have goals. That's basically what the end in mind is. And I'll put it right there. The end in mind is basically, what is your goal? What is it that you're trying to accomplish? What is your dream? What is your dream? What is your goal? What is it that you're trying to accomplish? What is the end? What are you trying to get to? And so something to help you with that is you have to be smart. You have to have smart goals. You have to set smart goals. Okay, the first thing you have to do is you have to write it down. Okay, you have to speak it. You have to write it down. That's the first thing you need to do, is write down your goals. Okay, that's the first thing you need to do. Next, you need to be specific about it. Okay, so being specific means to be clear, detailed, and specific about what you want. Instead of saying, I want to be a great basketball player, you can say, I want to average 15 points, 5 rebounds per game. You see the difference? One is more general and the other is more detailed. You need to be more detailed about what you're trying to accomplish with basketball and in the classroom. Next, it has to be measurable. Okay? You must be able to measure your results. For example, instead of saying, I want to be a great shooter, your goal can be stated as, I want to bring my average up to 15 points per game and shoot 80% from the free throw line. So it's measurable. So, for example, if you're only scoring 10 points now, and now you want to know you need to get up to 15 points. Okay? Or if you're a 50% free throw shooter, now you know you want to go up 30% more. You want to go up to 80%. Okay? Next, it must be achievable. Okay? Is your goal within your reach? Can you reach your goal by the time frame that you have set? So don't say, well, you're averaging 2 points now and you know you want to average 50 points in less than a month. That may not be achievable. That may not be something that you accomplish. So it has to be something that can be achievable. Just like I mentioned in the last video, it can take little steps. Okay, if you're averaging an F, you may want to go to a D. Then you want to go to a C. Okay, so it must be achievable, something that you can realistically achieve. No, don't set yourself up for failure. Okay, and that's next. Realistic. Can your goal really be achieved? Okay, and you have to really, just like I said, don't set yourself up for failure. If you're on the bench now saying you want to average 50 points a game, then that may not be as achievable. So be realistic and be achievable about what you're trying to do. Time frame. Set a time frame. Your goal should have a deadline. For example, I want to bring my average up to 15 points per game and shoot 80% from the free throw line by the 10th game of the year. So put a time frame on it. Because it's gonna add pressure to you. Just like with my MVP club. You know, like I said, the last year I put it off. This year I decided to do it. This year I have to get it done. This year there's each week you're going to receive a video from me with the next lesson? Well, I put a time frame on. You need a video each week, so it means each week I have to come up with a video. I have to come up with create a lesson for you to see. And so there's a time frame on there. I have exactly 7 days to get that next video out. So, and that's kind of the same thing. That what that means, set a time frame on it. Give yourself a week, 2 weeks, a month, you know, to achieve your goal. Or if it's academics, if you have a nine-week grading period, set a goal to bring your grade up within the next 9-week grading period. So that's what being smart means. So being smart means specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and setting a time frame. And what I'm going to do in the video right below this video, you should see you should have the Be Smart worksheet, and I'll have a copy of this for you to print out for yourself, and you can read this over and over and over, and you can write down your goals. And actually what I want you to do, I want you to write down some of those goals. Use the worksheet, write down some of your goals, and email it to me, because I want to see what you want to do. It's another way, like I said, write it down, write your goals down, make sure it's specific, and tell somebody about it. That's another way to force yourself to do something. You know, and sometimes we don't want to tell somebody what we're trying to do because a little fear gets on us. We don't want somebody else to know, but when you open your mouth and tell somebody about what you're trying to do, it kind of holds you accountable. So when someone else knows what you're trying to do, it kind of makes you say, man, I really have to do it now. And so that's what I want you to do. Write down your goals and email it to me. And I can help you with it. If it's not specific enough, I'll let you know. I can evaluate it and let you know what you need to do, what you need to add to it. Okay? So again, this is lesson 2. I hope you got something out of it. Get something out of it from my story. Get something out of it. You know, just listen to what I've been talking about and being smart. So like I said, if you just get one nugget out of this to help you through your season, if you're still playing, or in the classroom, if school is still in session, get something out of it. Take notes. Go back. You can go back and listen to this video and play it over and over and over. And I'm telling you, you'll be amazed if you go back and play this video 6 weeks from now, or a month from now, or 3 months from now, how you are a different person and how you can pick up something different out of this video. But that's it with lesson 2. I look forward to sharing my next insight with you on lesson 3. And again, I'm Patosha Jeffrey, the girls basketball trainer. Of course, you know who I am, and I look forward to seeing you and receiving your emails and your goals over the next couple of days. You take care, and I'll see you next week.